Good day, everyone. It's JB coming to you from somewhere in the record sphere. We continue to dive into the soundtracks and scores in my collection. A curation of musical selections, we all know that the soundtrack to a movie is very important. The music sets the vibe for a scene or creates a theme throughout a movie. When I left off, we had covered the genre from letters A through K. So today we're starting with the letter L. One of my favorite fantasy movies from the 80s, Ridley Scott's film Legend. This movie was so epic in my mind. It starred Tim Curry as the antagonist, devilish character who steals the horn from the last unicorn, thus thrusting the kingdom into darkness. It also stars a very young Tom Cruise, the protagonist, who lives in the forest and has the daunting challenge of not only clashing with the dark character to try and bring light back to the kingdom, but also winning the heart of his beloved, the princess, played by Mia Sara. The scary special effects makeup on Tim Curry are truly transformative, and the story is told like a classic fairy tale. The movie actually had two soundtracks. The theatrical US version, which is the version I have, and the European version. The US score was written and performed by new age and electronic recording artists Tangerine Dream, whereas the European cut features not only a different cut of the film itself, but a score written by Jerry Goldsmith. Depending on where you grew up, you probably associate Legend's sound with one of two different artists. Overseas, Goldsmith's 2-hour cut came with a more traditional orchestral score. But Sidney Sheinberg, president of MCA at the time, felt that the Goldsmith score would not appeal to the American youth, and he pressed for a new score. German group Tangerine Dream was contracted to complete a new, more contemporary score, a job they completed in 3 weeks. Now, I've seen both versions of the film, but I hang heavily on the side of the Tangerine Dream score, as well as that particular cut of the film. I believe that their style of music fits more nicely with the nature of the film, and they're able to play out the distinct differences between the light and the dark themes in a more interesting way. There's also a great song by Brian Ferry, Is Your Love Strong Enough?, and a featured song by John Anderson, lead singer of the group Yes, Loved by the Sun. On to a galaxy far, far away, we have the score from the Disney Channel hit Star Wars series The Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2. These are the exclusive picture discs sold by Walmart. I actually have them hanging up in my man cave right now, so I can only show you these images, but I love the picture discs and the music of the series. The music is by Swedish composer Ludwig Göransson, who has also composed music for such films as Black Panther, Creed, and Oppenheimer. Back to our own galaxy, but in an era of pastels and neon. I don't know, somehow we pulled it off. The 80s TV series Miami Vice. The series, featuring Philip Michael Thomas and Don Johnson as Miami police officers Tubbs and Crockett, spotlighted many a hot song from the era, including In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, arguably the best use of that song ever, as well as You Belong to the City and Smuggler's Blues by Glenn Frey, Better Be Good to Me by Tina Turner, and Vice by Melly Mel. I think this might have been one of the first TV shows to feature so many commercial pop and rock songs, and it made the show that much cooler. Speaking of cool, Henry Mancini's Peter Gunn soundtrack. The jazzy score helped to bring something extra to the action and was an integral part of the show's 39-week run. So iconic was the main theme that it's been covered or sampled hundreds of times. Now into the letter S we go with a strange film titled Son of Dracula, starring singer Harry Nilsson and Beatles drummer Ringo Starr. Harry Nilsson also performs the music for the film about a count named Count Down, the son of Count Dracula, who battles with Baron Frankenstein to be king of the Netherworld. It's a crazy weird film that, as far as I know, never made it to DVD or digital streaming. I believe I did see a copy of it, though, on YouTube, but my assumption is that Harry and Ringo really just wanted to bury this thing and forget that it ever happened. It has a few good songs on it, though, including Daybreak and Remember Christmas. You might be able to catch this next film on a streaming platform, and if you don't already own it, I highly suggest you do. This is Spinal Tap, the rockumentary/mockumentary of the loudest English band to ever exist. This is a promo copy of the soundtrack to the film and includes such great Spinal Tap songs as Sex Farm, Big Bottom, Gimme Some Money, and Tonight I'm Gonna Rock You Tonight. The movie stars Rob Reiner, who also directed the film, and it was written in part by Christopher Guest, who went on to write A Mighty Wind, Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, and others, but in my opinion, This is Spinal Tap is by far my favorite. I love the amp goes up to 11 bit, where one of the band members is showing off the Marshall amp and says, "Look at how our amp volume goes up to 11. Most amps only go up to 10, but ours goes up to 11. Rob Reiner says, "Is that louder?" And the guy pauses and says, "Well, that's one louder, isn't it?" And the bit goes on, and it just gets funnier as it does. Another music movie in Thank God It's Friday is up next. A disco rhythm and blues movie starring, of all people, Jeff Goldblum. This movie was released in 1978 and also features Donna Summer and the Commodores. I love this movie. I could watch it over and over again. The 70s outfits are crazy enough, but the movie itself is about one crazy night at a nightclub called The Zoo. This comedy actually features a lot of great late 70s disco and R&B, including songs from Donna Summer, the Commodores, Cameo, Diana Ross, and others. Disco may have died, but the sounds of USA for Africa and We Are the World will live on forever. Soon after Band Aid released Do They Know It's Christmas in December 1984, musician and activist Harry Belafonte decided to create an American benefit single for African famine relief. With fundraiser Ken Cragen, he enlisted many musicians and hired Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie to write the title song. The event brought together some of the era's best-known musicians to record We Are the World on January 21st, 1985. The full album showcased 9 previously unreleased songs. It's well known that Prince was asked to be a part of We Are the World, but he turned it down. Lots of speculation has circled around why the Purple One would turn down the opportunity to be included, but in an interview with Sheila E. in a January 2024 article from Entertainment Weekly, seems to clear that up. She states that Prince was still in the midst of his Purple Rain tour, and he was consistently giving back to charities and hospitals and the like already, so he felt like that was enough, and adding to that would have been too much. He appreciated what they were doing, though, and enjoyed the song. So when asked to contribute to We Are the World album, he did so by providing the previously unreleased song For the Tears in Your Eyes. Huey Lewis and the News, Bruce Springsteen, Tina Turner, and others also contributed to the album.
Long ago, there was a man, chained stone to bread with the touch of his hand. He made the blind see and the dumb understand. Tight full of tears in your eyes,
Of all the albums I have, this next album may be one of the strangest, but I love the calming atmospheric effect it has. It's called Whales Alive by Paul Winter and Paul Haley, featuring narration by Leonard Nimoy.
They say the sea is cold, but the sea contains the hottest blood of all, and the wildest, the most urgent. All the whales in the wider deeps, hot are they, as they urge on and dive beneath the icebergs. The right whales, the sperm whales, the hammerheads, the killers, there they blow, hot, wild, white breath out of the sea.
The album features voices of the humpback whales alongside beautiful music and narration of poetry and story. The album celebrates the relationship and history of humans and whales and demonstrates the long, complex patterns produced by whales to communicate with each other. There was lots of communication to get this next venue together. Woodstock, 3 days of peace and music. This is a 2-volume set, Volume 1 containing 3 records and Volume 2 containing 2 records. What I love about the albums is that they not only contain the great music of the venue, recorded live during the event, but also some of the audio of the MCs, including the infamous "Do Not Take the Brown Acid" announcement. So many great artists performed at Woodstock, including Joe Cocker, Santana, Sha Na Na, Sly and the Family Stone, The Who, Paul Butterfield Blues Band, Jimi Hendrix, Joan Baez, and the list goes on. This music festival was held from August 15th through the 18th, 1969, on a dairy farm in Bethel, New York, 40 miles southwest of the town of Woodstock. Billed as an Aquarian Exposition 3 days of peace and music, and alternatively referred to as the Woodstock Rock Festival. It attracted more than 460,000 attendees. 32 acts performed outdoors despite overcast skies and sporadic rain. It was one of the largest music festivals in history and became synonymous with the counterculture of the 1960s. Some of my favorite songs include Going Up to the Country by Canned Heat, with a little help from my friends by Joe Cocker, and Jimi Hendrix's angry electric version of The Star-Spangled Banner. Finally, we bring the soundtrack genre to a close with a compilation album dubbed Film Classics Take 2. This album features classical compositions from films such as Victor Victoria, Caligula, and The Four Seasons. Although the album is a nice listen overall, I initially purchased it for the theme from the movie Excalibur, the famed Carmina Burana o Fortuna. That's going to do it for this episode of JB's Vinyl Record Collection and the soundtrack editions. I'll be back in the next few episodes to bring you records from the jazz area of my collection, so stay tuned. You never know what you'll discover, so keep your ears open, my friends. Thanks for watching.